Hi everyone, for quarter 1, week 4 to 5, our lesson is about text. After this module, you are expected to identify the structure, purpose, and language features of different text types: narrative, information report, procedure, and argument. What is a text? Texts are written for a variety of purposes using different forms and standards of composition. These forms of writing are known as text types. There are two main text types: factual and literary. So, the four types of text are narrative, informative, procedure, and argument text. Narrative text.
Hello, today we will talk about narrative writing. What is a narrative writing? A narrative is a writing that tells a story. It can be written to motivate, educate, or to entertain the reader. Narratives can be both fact and fiction. Now, let's talk about narrative structure. A narrative structure includes characters, setting, conflict, climax, and resolution. What is a character? A character is anything that performs an action or speaks a dialogue in the story. For example, Ben was talking on the phone and said, "Hello," or the panda was playing. Over here, Ben and the panda are characters. What is a setting? A setting is the location and time of the story. It can be fictional or non-fictional. A setting can change throughout the story. For example, it was a dark, stormy night, and a cute little puppy was passing through the scary haunted house. Over here, the dark, stormy night is the time of the story, and the scary haunted house is the location of the story. This is what a setting is. What is a conflict? A conflict in a story is a problem or complication that affects the settings or characters. For example, my teacher burst into anger as I didn't do my homework. Now this is a serious problem in the story. What is a climax? A climax is the part of the story where the action is at its peak. For example, my teacher was about to contact my parents and I was standing there hopeless. This is the part of the story where the problem is at its peak. What is a resolution? A resolution is the conclusion of the story where the problem is solved. For example, suddenly the bell rang and the class was dismissed. I quickly walked towards the exit and luckily I was safe from being caught. This is the part of the story where the problem is solved. Don't forget to give your story a catchy title. This is easier to do at the end because a good title might come to you as you're writing your story. Thank you for watching. I hope you know all about narrative writing now.
So for the narrative text, the purpose is usually to entertain or to tell a story. The text structures are the character, setting, plot, conflict, and the resolution. The language features use verbs, time connectives, descriptive language, and a proper nouns. Examples are fiction books, fable, short stories, legends, novels, myths, and fairy tales. Informative text.
Informational texts include books and other types of texts that are about real life. They contain facts and true information. In other words, informational texts do not have made-up or imaginary stories. Informational texts teach you about real things. You can find informational texts about many topics. When you have finished reading an informational text, you can show what you have learned by answering questions about what you read. Listen to the informational text titled, Parts of a Plant. Pay close attention to what real-life topic is discussed in the text. Look for facts as you listen and read along. Parts of a plant. There are 4 main parts of a plant: the roots, stems, leaves, and flowers. Each part does an important job that helps the plant survive. Roots grow into the ground. They hold the plant in place. Roots also soak up water and nutrients from the ground. Nutrients are healthy materials that help the plant grow. The stems take water and nutrients from the roots and carry them to other parts of the plant. Plant stems also hold the leaves and flowers up as they grow toward the sunlight. Leaves take in the sunlight and air. The plant needs both of these to live. The leaf is where water, sunlight, and gases from the air are turned into food for the plant. Leaves are found in many shapes and sizes. The flower is where seeds are made. The seeds can be spread to make more plants. Think about what you just read. What was it all about? The topic, or main idea, of this informational text is parts of a plant. Looking at the title is a good way to get a clue about the main idea. What are the 4 parts of a plant that were described in the text? The 4 parts are the roots, stems, leaves, and flowers. Do you remember that each part of a plant has an important job? What job do the leaves of a plant have? The leaves take in sunlight and air. They also make food for the plant. One way to show what you have learned from an informational text is to summarize it. To summarize means to give a short description of the important parts of something. In this case, you are describing the important parts of a text. Here is a summary of parts of a plant. Parts of a plant talks about a plant's roots, stems, leaves, and flowers. Each part is important because it does a job that keeps the plant alive. Notice that the summary does not give every detail about the job each plant part does. It just gives the main idea of what the whole text is about. The next time you read an informational text, see if you can pick out some of the facts. Next, tell someone else about what you read. Talking about the text will help you understand and remember the information.
Informative text. The purpose is to present facts about an object, animal, person, or place. Text structures. It has beginning, middle, and ending. The language features specific nouns related to topic, action words or verbs, written in present tense, free from personal opinion. For example, non-fiction books and articles, dictionaries, encyclopedias, atlases, almanacs, biographies, newspaper, magazines, essays, and textbooks. Procedure text.
Hello, friends! Today, we will be learning how to write a procedural text such as a recipe. You may be wondering, what is a procedural text? Procedures are written to teach or instruct the reader how to do or make something. What kind of procedural texts are there? There are manuals, which show you how to use something such as a new computer. Recipes are another example of a procedural text that teach you how to make something, typically food. There are also tutorials on many types of things such as how to make a craft. Scientists also use it to record a scientific investigation or when someone is giving instructions. Now, let's get back to recipe writing. When writing a recipe, you have to start with a goal or purpose, which is to explain how to do something. Next, you have to list the ingredients and materials needed. Finally, you need to list the steps to make the recipe correctly using transition words such as first, next, and finally. Let's start with our purpose. I know the purpose of a recipe is to give a set of instructions to prepare a certain food, dish, or drink. Now we need to list our ingredients for my favorite food, cupcakes. Finally, we must list the steps in the correct order so that our recipe comes out right. I wouldn't want them to come out wrong. I am going to make sure I use transition words and precise words that explain my directions well. I better check the cupcakes. Thanks for stopping by to learn about writing a procedural text and growing as a learner. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe.
Procedure text. The purpose is to describe or instruct how something is accomplished through a sequence or steps. When a set of rules is needed to be understood. Text structures. It has goal, aim, or title. Materials not required for all procedural text. Steps, the action that must be taken. Language features. Use signal words first, then, next, finally. Use imperatives or action words. Cat, mix, fold. Use adverbial phrases. For 5 minutes, in the bowl carefully. Examples, recipes, science experiment, road safety, manuals, rules of game. Argument text.
Argumentative text. I am the best. French fries are the best food in the world. No way, Jose. Chocolate is way better than French fries. People like me more than you. Have you ever tried to convince someone to do or like something? Have you ever tried to convince someone to change how they feel about something? That is argumentative text. Argumentative text tries to convince or persuade the reader. Let's look at this sentence. Hamburgers are better than hot dogs. Who agrees with that sentence? The word better is a word that's used to help persuade the reader. Let's look at this sentence. Hot dogs are the best food for picnics. Who agrees with that sentence? The word best is also an opinion word that's used to persuade the reader. So, how does the author try to convince the reader? They use those opinion words. Here are some more examples. Best, unfair, better, terrible, easiest, awesome, always, never, greatest, and clearly. Have you ever used any of those opinion words when you're arguing with your brother or sister, or maybe even your parents? I bet you probably have. Now let's talk about the author's audience. Who is the author's audience? The audience is who the author is trying to convince. Let's look at this sentence. Students do not need homework. Who would you try to convince to not give you homework? You guessed it, those teachers. Let's look at this sentence. Pizza is better than tacos. Who agrees with that? Who would the audience be for this sentence? Probably those people who love tacos. Good job. Now let's give it a try. Longer recess. Who thinks you deserve a longer recess? Students should have a longer recess. We sit at our desk all day and deserve to have some time with our friends. We need to be able to stretch and clear our mind. When the long recess is over, we will be able to refocus and dig into learning. It will not only make us better students, but teachers will get a longer break as well. Let's look at this question. What is the author trying to convince the reader? Let's look at our title and also that very first sentence. If you said students should have a longer recess, you are correct. Good job. Let's try another question. Who is the author's audience? Who is the author trying to convince that the students need a longer recess? If you guessed the teachers, you are correct. The teachers are the audience. You did an awesome job, and now you're ready to try it on your own.
Argument text. The purpose is to present a discussion with the pros agree and cons disagree, to convince people or change readers' point of view. Text structures. The parts are introduction or beginning, that is the topic or issue, argument or middle, paragraphs that gives arguments, conclusion or ending, restating the opinion on the topic. Language features. It has nouns to name ideas, thoughts, or opinion, written in present tense, verbs to show what is said and thought. Use conjunction, therefore, so, however, although. Examples: opinion pieces or editorial, proving theories, debate speeches, film or book review. Let's do this. Read and analyze the text. Answer the questions that follow. True friends. Once upon a time, there were two close friends who were walking through the forest together. They knew that anything dangerous can happen anytime in the forest. So, they promised each other that they would always be together in any case of danger. Suddenly, they saw a large bear getting closer towards them. One of them climbed a nearby tree at once, but unfortunately, the other one did not know how to climb up the tree. So being led by his common sense, he lay down on the ground, breathless and pretended to be dead man. The bear came near to the one who was lying down on the ground, smelled in his ears, and slowly left the place because the bears do not want to touch dead creatures. After that, the friend on the tree came down and asked his friends that was on the ground, "Friend, what did the bear whisper into your ears?" The other friend replied, "Just now the bear advised me not to believe a false friend." Read the experiment below performed by the grade 4 class. Rocks in soil. Are there rocks in soil? Plants grow on soft soil. If you look closely at the soil, you will see that it has rocks in it. The grade 4 class performed an experiment to find out if there are rocks in the soil. Read what they did to prove that there are rocks in the soil. They got basin and poured water into it. Some of the boys got a handful of soil and placed it in a basin. They let it stand for 5 minutes. After that, they slowly poured the water, leaving the soil into the basin. They took some soil from the basin. Some portions of the soil hardened into small pieces of rocks. This showed that there are rocks in the soil. Write the steps done in the comment section by the grade 4 pupils. Complete the chart by writing the directions step by step. The first one is done for you. Again, there are 4 categories of the text types: narrative, informative, procedure, and argument. The purpose of each text type is as follows. Narrative text tells a story in order to entertain the reader. Information text tells something about an object, person, place, or animal. Procedure text tells the steps involved in doing something. Argument text presents pros and cons of an issue. It convinces others' points of view. We analyze the purpose, text, structures, and language features of each text type. Read and analyze the text. Answer the questions that follow. Choose the letter of the correct answer. Homework should be banned. Most little kids get far too much homework. Our class believes homework should be banned in primary school. Firstly, it's well known that kids are not as fit as they should be. Sitting around for hours doing homework is dreadfully unhealthy. Secondly, kids work hard at school all day. They need time to relax and refresh their brains. Kids are stressed and parents are frustrated for worrying about homeworks. Thirdly, homework is hideously difficult to complete for many kids. Therefore, they need help from their teachers. They need lots of resources which they can't get at home. In conclusion, we believe homework, which is really just more schoolwork, should be done in school or banned entirely. That's all for Quarter 1, Week 4 to 5. Thanks. See you next week. Bye!